morning, children. Welcome back to your chemistry class. So today in this chapter of aldehydes, ketones and carboxylic acids, we were already doing chemical properties of aldehydes and ketones. To move ahead, we shall today begin with the oxidation. So we know that aldehydes, they are easily oxidized to carboxylic acids on treatment with some of the oxidizing agents. What are those oxidizing agents? Like HNO3 or KMNO4 or potassium dichromate and all that, right? So over here aldehydes like RCHO, they show oxidation in the presence of some of the oxidizing agents. What are those oxidizing agents? As I told you, nitric acid or potassium permanganate or potassium dichromate. And what do they form? They form carboxylic acids, right? But ketones, they are oxidized under drastic conditions. What are they? That is with powerful oxidizing agents at high temperatures. So they give mixture of both carboxylic acids. This is your aldehyde. I was talking about a ketone. So let's take a ketone CCH3 double bond O. Okay. So with this acetone, if we use what powerful oxidizing agents have to be used, like for example concentrated HNO3 could be used, right? And then oxidation takes place, so it is going to give you mixture of carboxylic acid having less number of carbon atoms than the original ketone. So what are those two carboxylic acids that we are going to get? We will get formic acid plus CH3COOH. So these are the two mixtures, right? The aldehydes, they are oxidized by mild oxidizing agents. What are those mild oxidizing agents? As I had told you, they could be HNO3 or KMNO4, or they could be even K2Cr2O7. They are mild oxidizing agents. But for ketones we need powerful oxidizing agents. So what are those powerful oxidizing agents? They could be concentrated HNO3 or maybe KMNO4 in H2SO4, or maybe even K2Cr2O7 in H2SO4 at high temperatures. Okay, so these are the oxidizing agents for the respective aldehydes and ketones, right? Now, in case of unsymmetrical ketones, the cleavage occurs, and this cleavage occurs in such a way. So let me first draw an unsymmetrical ketone for you. CH3, CH2, CH2, C double bond O, CH3. So what is this? This is your pent-2-one, right? So as I said, the cleavage will occur, and where that keto group preferentially remains with the smaller alkyl group, right? So the cleavage will occur where? It is going to occur here. So this, in the presence of concentrated HNO3, will undergo oxidation, and it is going to form the mixture of carboxylic acids, that is CH3CH2COOH plus CH3COOH. So this cleavage occurs where? If this cleavage occurs in such a way that the keto group, it is going to remain with the smaller alkyl group. This is going to remain with the smaller alkyl group, not with this. So I hope this is very clear to you. Now let us move to some more tests with respect to oxidation reactions. So now the aldehydes, as I told you, they are oxidized by mild oxidizing agents, and hence they can be easily distinguished from the ketones. But there are certain tests that we are going to study over here. So the first test is your tolerance test. Okay. So over here on warming the aldehyde, right, with the freshly prepared ammoniacal silver nitrate. So that is with 2 molecules of ammoniacal silver nitrate solution. So that is NH3 whole twice. Oh, sorry. NH3 plus. Okay. So what are you going to observe over here? We will see silver mirror. Okay. So warm this reaction, we get plus 2 Ag. This is your silver mirror plus H2O, that is plus NH3. This will be 4 NH3, this is 2 H2O, right? So this test is given by aldehyde, not by the ketones. Second test is your Fehling test. So over here aldehydes, they react with the Fehling solution, right? In Fehling solution, the aldehydes, they react with the Fehling solution A, that is copper sulfate, and Fehling solution B, that is the alkyne sodium potassium tartrate. Okay, and they are mixed in equal amount and they form the reddish brown PPT. So let's see over there, the aldehyde reacts with the first solution of copper sulfate and the second solution, that is the B solution of alkyl sodium potassium tartrate. Okay, and when it is heated, it is going to give us the reddish brown PPT, that is of Cu2O. This is your reddish brown PPT. I can write it down like this, plus RCO plus 3H2O, right? But benzaldehyde or any aromatic aldehydes, they do not respond to the Fehling test. Then third one, we come to oxidation of methyl ketones by haloform reaction, right? So over here aldehydes and ketones, since we already know that they have the carbonyl group and they are oxidized by sodium hypohalite solution. Let's see over here, RCCH3O, right? They combine with NaOX. So what is this? Sodium hypohalite solution, and they are going to give us haloform. So what is the haloform? RC double bond O ONA plus CHX3. Now over here the X could be your like chlorine, bromine or iodine. It can be any of this. So let's take an example like CH3CHO, right, treated with iodine. If I treat it with iodine and sodium hydroxide is used on heating, what is it going to give us? It is going to give us CH. We are talking about this haloform CHI3. This is your iodoform. Clear? And the color of this is a yellow PPT. This is a yellow PPT plus HCONA is formed, plus 3 parts of sodium iodide is formed, plus 3 parts of water is also formed over here. So I hope you have understood the oxidation of methyl ketone by haloform reaction. That if we are using iodine, then it is iodoform. Let us look at the reaction with the ketone like CH3CO, CH3 when treated with the iodine and NaOH. So how many molecules? 4 molecules of NaOH. When this is heated, it is going to give us iodoform, that is CHI3, which is yellow PPT, okay, plus CH3COO Na plus it is going to give us 3 sodium iodide plus 3 molecules of water. I hope these reactions are clear to you. Oxidation of methyl ketones by haloform test. Next we move to the reaction due to alpha hydrogen, or we can say base catalyzed reactions. So let us begin with the reactions due to alpha hydrogen. These are base catalyzed reactions, okay. So over here we are going to study about aldol condensation. Now what is aldol condensation? The aldehydes and ketones having at least one alpha hydrogen, they undergo this self condensation, right? And this happens in the presence of dilute alkali, and they form beta hydroxy aldehyde, or they may also form beta hydroxy ketone in place of when treated with ketones, and this reaction is therefore known as aldol condensation. I repeat, what did I say? The aldehydes and ketones which have at least one alpha hydrogen, right, they undergo some self condensation in the presence of dilute alkali, and they form beta hydroxyaldehyde or beta hydroxy ketone. This is known as aldol condensation. So let us first see in case of aldehydes and then in ketones. So aldehyde, if I take double bond OH plus HC double bond OH, right, this will combine with the oxygen over here in the presence of dilute NaOH. It is going to form what? CH3COH C double bond O and H. What is the name of this? This is 3-hydroxy but 1 and this is called as aldol, right? Further, when water is removed on heating, it is going to give us but2ene 1-al. That is, so when you remove water from here, what do you get? You will get CH3CH double bond CHCHO. So what is this? This is but2ene 1-al. Clear? So this is your aldol condensation with respect to aldehydes. Now let's talk about in terms of ketone. So let's take acetone, CH3CO CH3. So when this is treated with barium hydroxide, it is going to give us what? CH3C CH3OH CH2CO CH3. Let's name this. What is the name of this compound? It is check 4-hydroxy 4-methyl pent 2-on, and this is called as ketal. That was aldol and this is ketal, right? Further, when we remove water from here, on heating, So when we remove water, I'm writing down the compound over here. What do we get? We get CH3, CH3 double bonds, HCOCH3. Okay, CHCO3, H2O. So what is the name of this? This is 4-methyl pent 3-ene 2-O. Followed? So these were all the reactions with respect to aldol condensation. Now we shall study about cross aldol condensation. Let's come to cross aldol condensation. So what is cross aldol condensation? The aldol reaction that starts with two different carbonyl compounds, right? Then they are termed as cross aldol condensation. I repeat, what is cross aldol condensation? When the aldol reactions that starts with two different carbonyl compounds. So let's see this, like CH3, CH double bond O, this is of one kind, plus CH3, CH2, C double bond O, H. Okay, over here now when we add the base to it, so it is going to give us CH3, CH, OH, okay, CH2, C double bond O and H, and further CH3, CH2, C, OH, CH, CH3, C double bond OH. It can also give CH3, CH, CH, so over here OH, and to this CH3, C double bond OH, and it can also give CH3, CH2, CH, OH, CH2, CHO. Clear? So these are some of the products of cross aldol condensation reactions. Now aldol condensation, it is of great importance if one of the carbonyl compound does not contain alpha hydrogen atom, right? For example, like formaldehyde HCHO, when this is treated with acetaldehyde, that is CH3CHO, and we use dilute NaOH, so we get HOCH2, CH2, CHO. What is this? This is your 3-hydroxy propane 1 ol, right? And if we take formaldehyde HCHO and treat it with acetone, that is CH3COCH3, under the same condition using dilute NaOH, then in that case it is going to give us what? 4-hydroxybutadiene. So what is that 4-hydroxy? It is HOCH2, CH2, COCH3. So what is this? This is 4-hydroxybutadiene. Clear? So I hope cross aldol condensation is also very clear to you. So what is Cannizzaro reaction? Remember the disproportionation of aldehydes lacking of alpha hydrogen. For example, could be of formaldehyde or benzaldehyde, right? In the presence of a strong base, and they form salt of an acid and a primary alcohol, then it is called as a Cannizzaro reaction, right? Once again I repeat, when there is disproportionation of the aldehydes which lack alpha hydrogen when in the presence of a strong base, and what do they form? They form a primary alcohol along with a salt of an acid, right? Then it is called as a Cannizzaro reaction. For example, like if we take a formaldehyde HCHO and treat it with the concentrated NaOH, right? So what do we get? As I told you, a primary alcohol and a salt of an acid. So primary alcohol over here will be what? It will be CH3OH, that is the methanol, plus the salt of an acid, it will be sodium formate, HCOONA, right? Now another, as I told you, benzaldehyde. So let's take 2C6H5CHO. This is what? Benzaldehyde. When treated with concentrated NaOH, so it is going to give you the primary alcohol, that is your benzyl alcohol will be formed, C6H5CH2OH. What is this? This is your benzyl alcohol, and salt of the acid, that is your sodium benzoate will be formed, that is C6H5COONA. This is sodium benzoate. Clear? So these were the reactions that we had to study. Now let's talk about some common tests. Okay, some common tests for aldehydes and ketones. So remember that only aldehydes restore pink color of Schiff's reagent. Okay, so aldehydes only, they restore pink color of your Schiff's reagent. And aldehydes, number 2, aldehydes reduce Tollens reagent to silver mirror. This reaction I had shown you. Okay, and they give what? Red brown PPT with the Fehling solution, and give reddish brown. Okay, you can write reddish brown. I should have written reddish brown. Reddish brown PPT with Fehling solution, right? And what about ketones? They do not respond to this test. Third point, ketones do not respond to this test. Clear? Okay. Test for formaldehyde. Okay, so here as I said, 1 ml of 1% phenyl hydrazine hydrochloride is taken, right, plus 1 ml of 5% potassium ferricyanide solution is taken, right, and they are all added to formalin. So what do we get? This all, when it is acidified by adding 1 ml of concentrated HCl, we get rosy red color, right? So this confirms the test for your formaldehyde. And some more tests for acetaldehyde could be like acetaldehyde, as we have already done, gives yellow PPT with the iodoform, right? And freshly prepared sodium nitroprusside and excess of dilute NaOH, it also gives deep red color. Now what are some of the uses of your aldehydes and ketones? Some of the important uses of aldehydes and ketones are that they are responsible for many flavors and odors. For example, your vanilla flavor, right? Then cinnamaldehyde, that is your cinnamon flavor. Then your almond flavor has benzaldehyde, right? So they are generally used for many of the odors and flavors. Then they are used as solvents, right? So firstly writing down over here for flavors and odors. Okay, second point, what did I say? Used as solvents, and even the starting material for synthesis of right? Then they're used as preservative, used as preservatives for biological specimens. Okay, and they are used to prepare bakelite, used to prepare bakelite, right? Then acetaldehyde, it is used for as a starting material for acetic acid, esters, some drugs and polymers, whereas benzaldehyde, it is used in the dye industry, in the perfumery industry and so on. Okay, so I'll write over here benzaldehyde, it is used where? In perfume and dye industry. Okay, and as I told you, acetaldehyde, it is used where? As a starting material for your acetic acid, could be for the esters, could be for the various drugs, and even for the polymers etc. So with this I wind up today, and in the next video I shall begin with the benzaldehyde. I will be talking about benzaldehyde. Thank you.